Three, two, one, here we go. RAINMAN'S Take podcast. Observations on the world we live in. My take on current events and other topics of interest. Also, interviews with some really cool people. So let's get the conversation going. Hey, everybody, it's the Rain Man. Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody watching. Thank you very much. I know you're going to find this next interview thought-provoking. I enjoy spending time with people like my next guest and getting into more detail about the subject matter, and I know you appreciate that as well. So go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. That way we can continue bringing you great content in the future. So thanks again for being part of Rain Man's Take, and enjoy the interview. Hey, everybody, it's the Rain Man. I want to introduce my guest, Jeff Morris. Jeff, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to have Jeff on. Jeff is, he runs an organization here in Encinitas called the Encinitas Watchdog Group. And they're doing some really, really good work in terms of exposing just some of the things that are going on that most people in Encinitas, if they're not aware of it, absolutely should be, because there's some pretty appalling things going on in the name of our residents. And also Jeff is running for mayor of Encinitas this fall. So Jeff, thanks very much for joining me. Why don't we start off by just kind of giving me a little bit of a background of Encinitas Watchdog Group, when it started and why did you start it?
Well, Encinitas Watchdog started after November 15th of 2019, when we received a notice on the Nextdoor app that they plan on opening a homeless parking lot in our community. It was a nonprofit group. So when I initially heard about it, I'm thinking, well, it's kind of a pretty cool idea. I know some of the homeless people at the beach and I surf, so let's go down and tell them about the parking lot. We'd also been told that there was 25 families from Encinitas that lost their homes and they were living out of their cars and the kids were going to school. So I figured, since I'm local, I live here, let me see if I can track those down so that nobody misses this opportunity. So anyways, I just took off and went and started talking to some of the local homeless, and the numbers didn't quite seem like what we were told. It sounded like we had some type of crisis, and the few guys that I talked to, maybe half were interested. That might have been 10 to 15 people, but everybody I talked to wasn't aware of any families at all. And that was kind of what the main basis was, is that they're going to open this safe parking lot for 25 families with children. So, once I realized that that probably wasn't the truth, I began to grow suspicious. And then, we start trying to get answers from the city council and they're not responding. We're reaching out to this outfit that put the ad up. It's a nonprofit, and it's just kind of not making sense. It had a really bad taste to it. And so I just felt like I had to notify the community. I went nuts from that point on. I knew something bad was happening. I didn't know what to do, but I knew if I notified the community, something would happen.
Gotcha. All right. So explain to me a little bit about what it was that wasn't sitting quite right with you when you were talking to that nonprofit organization about what they were planning to do at the parking lot. You said something like, it just started to sound really fishy.
Yeah, they were pretty much saying that we had a homeless crisis in Encinitas. And, when you think of a crisis, you think of something just obvious and noticeable. And so I put a lot of time in searching to find out, where these homeless people are. And I just started reaching out to other people, and we kind of had a bad feeling about it after we realized there wasn't really that many homeless. And what we ended up finding out is that the 2020 Regional Task Force, they have a count that they do annually to count the number of homeless. What they did is they counted 47 unsheltered people. That means 47 people that are not sleeping in a shelter or some type of facility. But those 47 people were divided between Encinitas, Solana Beach, Del Mar, Carmel Valley, and Rancho Santa Fe. We didn't know that initially, but we found that out later. So that's like 10, 15 tops. So now we're going to have a parking lot for 25 cars and families. And we just figured they're going to be busting them in from somewhere. And that's exactly what they started doing.
Wow, that's actually surprising because that number is tiny if you clump all of those communities together. I mean,
Nothing.
so it obviously it sounds like they were gearing up to do just that, to start bringing more homeless people into our area.
Yeah. Once we started, well, there was the first meeting that happened on November 22nd, 2019, where we went into that meeting. You know, I'd been to city council meetings in the past, but nothing quite as significant as this. And, you know, when we went in there, I kind of quickly figured out it was a staged event. I realized that the people that were speaking were all somehow related. And the way they were talking about homeless people and it being this multifaceted, complex thing, you know, I spent time on the street, so I understand it. And it's not that multifaceted. You get somebody into housing, you get a roof over their head, 3 meals a day, a hot shower, a bed, and then you start evaluating the person. So I could tell the way that they were talking, they were, you know, they were planning on trying to confuse most of the residents, but they weren't able to confuse me.
And so what's the underlying motivation for doing this? Is it the state is telling them that they have to do this, or is it are they getting state funding for doing what made them do this?
Well, I'm going to say what made them do it is I think that our mayor, I can't say specifically that she had plans, but she had plans shortly after this parking lot opened to run for state senator. So I can guess that maybe these were part of the plans that she had to follow in order for the Sacramento to help her get into office. And so she applied for what's called Encinitas. So Encinitas applied for what's called a HEAP grant, a homeless emergency aid program loan, where they get, you know, hundreds or thousands or millions of dollars. And the money part is part of it as well. They brought in the nonprofits, so they gave local control to outsiders. And now these guys are just shoveling in homeless from all over the place. And, you know, we began monitoring it, and that's kind of how Watchdog started, because they were being sly. They weren't telling the truth. And now you can't even recognize this town. We have like 4 or 5 hotels that are packed. We have homeless scattered everywhere, encampments. We have van lifers coming in from all over the place. We're setting records with crime, both property and violent crime. And then it just, you know, our mayor is kind of hiding information from us. So it's like we're fighting tooth and nail just to figure out what's going on. And, you know, I had so much of that, and I finally decided I had to run. And so, but it was financial, and I believe it was politically driven. And it's kind of like almost like a weird progressive California style takeover. I think Encinitas is in the middle of a big experiment right now, and we're the guinea pigs.
And so do you guys know what that, so 45 originally in those multiple communities, what is it? What's that number now in Encinitas? Is it in the hundreds? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be easily in the hundreds. They've filled our town. I began monitoring immediately. And then as I grew the group, Encinitas Watchdog, we had several people monitoring, taking pictures, seeing where the new cars. So they started in November 15th advertising. So if you go look on Encinitas Safe Parking, you'll see that November 15th, 2019 is the first advertisements that you're going to see. Before that, we didn't have any. So they just market our town, and they just keep a fresh cycle of bodies coming to our town so they can get paid and help Catherine get up to being senator. I'm pretty sure that's her motivation. And it's getting out of hand right now. And with crime, drugs, I think the last thing I heard was 25 homeless people have OD'd already, and that doesn't count natural deaths. So it's a mess here. It's not safe like it was. We got screwed over big time. It wasn't good, and it's bad right now.
And are you is the Watchdog Group getting any traction with the city in terms of, do they have a plan or to solve this issue, or is
No,
it just going to kind of, they're just going to kind of let it go?
no, they're. I believe when Catherine leaves to become senator, if she wins, um, she plans on leaving these nonprofits here to keep collecting money and to kind of keep controlling our town. And that's what's happening is if you look at our community right now, we are completely controlled by special interest groups. Our city council are all backed by special interest groups. So they're pushing this kind of radical agenda on our community, and they're not really letting us know anything. And I'd say 95% of the community has no idea of really what's going on. They sort of think, oh, well, homelessness is just kind of natural. There's homeless people here and there, but they're not really following the rapes, the, attempted kidnapping, all the drugs, the deaths and stuff like that. They're busy people, two families or two husband, wife working, trying to raise your family. And, it takes a lot of time and effort to really understand what's going on. And so that's what we're trying to do is push and educate the community, because the city council right now is blocking residents from getting important information that can protect our families and keep us safe. Um, it's bad.
So what are those nonprofits that are kind of controlling the influx of the homeless people?
Well, I think the two right now, or three, is going to be our own CRC, Encinitas Community Resource Center, which should be for local homeless people. Um, it should be able to take care of people that are, maybe some kids have, can't deal with their parents and they can go there and talk to somebody. But instead, it's turned into a money-making machine. The last thing I heard from Catherine Blakespeare is that they now have $10 million to revamp their entire building. I'm like, wait a sec, you could have used that money on homeless. So that leads me to believe that they plan on continuing and possibly expanding their business. The big advertisers are Jewish Family Services. They're from somewhere in San Diego, and their ads are everywhere. So if you Google, you'll see them advertising our town, and they don't live here. And the guy in charge of CRC doesn't live here. And, it feels like we're being used. There's no respect in our town, and there's too many people trying to jump into Encinitas and take advantage of this community because our city council has turned against the community.
Yeah, and unrelated to the Watchdog Group, I've been pretty active with the Encinitas residents for responsible development, and also the Liebenhain groups that are opposing some of the crazy building projects that are supposed to help solve the affordable housing issue. And it's the same thing. You're basically fighting tooth and nail, and it's a fact. The city council, Mayor Blakespeare, actually sued the citizens of Encinitas a couple of years ago to help try to push these projects through. So I definitely have a bad taste in my mouth about the city council, kind of based on what they've been doing just with those building projects, and just recently with the firing of the
Bruce
planning
Ayers.
commission, the commissioner. So all those sorts of things are just really, really bothersome. And it seems like the citizens are starting to stand up to it. Are you starting to get that sense with the homeless issues as well? Or is it still really that people really don't understand what the problem is?
Well, there's a lot more awareness now. And um, I would say what's interesting is a lot more people are becoming active. Like when all this kind of first started, it was just a small group of us. We formed a group called NC3. We were going to sue the city for a violation of the Brown Act, but then they moved the parking lot. And as time has passed, we've been getting the word out, and I've been going to schools and talking to principals and telling parents, especially when they decided to move a homeless parking lot where people smoke crack with blowtorches right next to local schools, middle schools, St. John's, where my children went, Oakcrest, where my children went. There's another one behind there for younger children. And I think it's just ridiculous what they're doing. It's just, they don't care. You know, we're
Yeah.
dealing right now with nonprofits that are running this community. They're pushing the overdevelopment. They're pushing the homeless thing. They're pushing, you know, fake issues and agenda so that they can put pressure on the residents and kind of control us. I feel like I'm in communist China or North Korea as of late. So it's a weird feeling. You know,
Yeah.
you never think that this kind of thing can happen, but it's happening here in Encinitas. We are a big fat guinea pig, and we got a big war ahead of us.
What you had mentioned this just a second ago. What is the Brown Act? What is that?
The Brown Act is where they talk behind closed doors and they're not telling you what's going on. And I don't know all the rules on that. I'm not the attorney person. I'm kind of more the loud voice. But it seems like there's just a lot of backroom dealing. And I was just at a meeting the other night, a city council meeting, and the mayor got flustered and she said, you know, we're going to take a 15-minute break because it didn't seem like the people wanted to, or the city council wanted to really attack Bruce Ehlers and fire him. So they went out, they went for the meeting, took the break, came back, and boom, execution started. So we can only speculate what happened behind there, but I think she runs the whole thing. You know, I can't say with absolute certainty, but I'll bet everything I own. She's basically she's a dictator of Encinitas right now, and she's going hard at this town. And it's going to be scary if she becomes a senator.
Let's get back to the to the homeless. So the parking lot. So the original plan was a parking lot, and that was over on Saxony, right? Was that where that parking lot was located, or?
Yeah, it was right by my house. It was off of Saxony on a property called Leech Tag, which is a nice organization. They bought 66 acres of agricultural in perpetuity. And I initially had some concerns because I just started letting my son go to the skate park and just down the street. But I figured, hey, if I could go get the locals from the beach that sleep in their vans and cars there, they're going to police the parking lot and I'll be comfortable because I trust those guys. But then just things started changing. And, you know, once we found out those families didn't exist and we started seeing the cars come in, we knew these were not locals. And so that's when, you know, the first day I got on the news with KUSI, I believe it was Channel 10, I'm not sure exactly, but I had mentioned that, you know, Encinitas, we're a very generous community. We want to help our homeless, but we cannot take care of all of North County's homeless. And that was their plan, but trying to sneak it behind us. And that's what they did. Now it's like they're just anybody they can pour in here, they do it. And it seems like the homeless are being used, I think, to kind of break the backbone of the community, and kind of they like to kind of shame and censor and attack residents and trying to make belittle you and stuff. And you know, I spent some time on the street, so that doesn't work with me. So I've been fighting back the whole time. I don't care what you say about me. I'm not. You're not going to sell me on that. And that's why I've become such a big voice, is because I fight back and I have the lived experience to argue against what they're doing. And they're treating these homeless people terrible. It's terrible. They're treating the residents terrible. They're treating the homeless terrible.
And what are they doing, or what are they not doing specifically? And I guess you can kind of use your past experiences when you were growing up. So are they just completely ignoring them, or is it worse than that?
It's they're okay. See, these guys are opportunists that are making money, and they play this game with compassion and dressing nice and trying to talk all proper. And they say, hey, we all must have compassion. Well, you know what? Homeless people don't need your compassion. Compassion is another way of saying, I care, but I'm not going to do anything. You either care or you don't care. And these guys really don't care. And they made some promises to me, which I made. They told me that they would take care of our local homeless. And I know these guys, I surfed with them and just something went wrong. Maybe they lost a parent, another guy lost a kid, they did some drugs. Doesn't make them bad people. They're still an asset to the community and they still care. And when you bring in people that aren't from the community, they don't care about Encinitas. So there's a big difference between who you are going to house for homeless. So they made a promise, and I went to these guys. I said, "Listen, I'm going to get you guys housing. Here's where we're going to be. We're going to stay at this and that." And then COVID hit. They went in for 1 month, and then they kicked them back out. They have been on the streets ever since. and they have them like by the Caltrans freeways, by these lower ditches. It's a steep hill, and the last time I was there, I went during the middle of a brutal thunderstorm, and I'm going in there and I just see the mud and water just pelting the encampments and taking the tents out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm trying to help these guys clean up and get around. I'm going 2 foot deep in the mud, and it makes me angry. And the fact that these are humans, I'm not like this super like pro homeless person, but I care about treatment. And if you're going to toot your horn about how great you are, you better help these guys out. And it's the saddest thing. And I had to go back there and I apologize. I say, hey, listen, I'm sorry that this has happened to you, and I'm sorry that I made these promises, but I'm gonna run for mayor, and I'm gonna help you guys. If I win, I'm gonna help you guys. I'm gonna stick to what I said, and I have to, it's just it's something that I have to do. Life gave me opportunity to overcome the impossible. I owe society back a debt, and if they would have housed the homeless people, our locals, I wouldn't even be running right now. I would have already paid off that debt. So part of that keeps me going, and knowing that I have to pay back, and this is a challenge, and this is, if I can do this, then I've earned my stripes. And if I have to be mayor, I'll fix other stuff. I'll fix the homeless, and I'll fix this whole community. We're in bad shape with these nonprofits and special interest groups, and our mayor's desire to become a senator. It is bad. It's a big war.
So, you mentioned a couple of hotels that they've got that I guess are supposedly to house the homeless, but are they where are they, and is that working?
Oh my goodness, it's a disaster. So when COVID hit, they're trying to blame COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you straight right now, that's a lie. This COVID has nothing to do with this. This was already in the works since 2018 when they filed the shelter emergency. They knew what they were going to do in 2018, and they've tried to play dumb. And I've done so much research, I can kind of connect all these dots together. So when COVID hit, we heard that they were going to put them in hotels, which kind of what we were thinking about in the first place, that they were going to do with ours. But what they started doing is they started bringing in out of town homeless and putting them in our hotels. And they started first at the Quality Inn, which is by Leucadia and the 101, no, Leucadia and the 5, kind of on my house. And so I went there and just started monitoring, checking out the driver's license or the license plates, talking to the people. And most of these guys initially, might have been a couple that were kind of local. Most were from outside. It then spread to the Roadway Inn, which is on the 101. I began to notice homeless there. And then it went to Econo Lodge, which is on the 101. I noticed the cars there. I think every 21 days or something, they had to rotate. There's something where you have to rotate them out, or they can file that they live there. And then the Days Inn is over on Encinitas Boulevard and the 5. And if you just go look at these, especially the Quality and the Days Inn, they just look like shacks, and they are. There's drug use in there. People are dying. I wouldn't, they're not telling us what's happening, but they used to have a police scanner where I would go every time there was a call. I've seen massive drug bust, dead people, needles. And then the Portofino is an abandoned hotel. And a lot of people have just moved in there, and the sheriffs aren't allowed to enforce any of the laws because of Boise versus or Martin versus Boise. And what that means is that if you don't have a place to put them, then you can't tell them to move. So the Portofino, last time I was in there, I think I saw like maybe 100 needles all over. I was like, what? It's crazy. And so they're thrashing, burning down rooms, fights, crime. It's just nonstop. And our mayor's trying to hide it from us. So this is not good.
How is it going getting the word out, the Watchdog Group? You guys feeling like you're being effective, and are people starting to kind of understand the situation?
Yeah, I think a lot of people understand what's going on. We have to get the word out more because, again, people don't even know who our politicians are. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I went in there just as an ignorant retired surf bum, expecting to be able to help some homeless people, and I left realizing that we were being lied to. So the most important thing right now is that we get information out to the community and make them aware. It's not just about the homeless, but the homeless is just like with the overdevelopment, traffic, and all of the other issues. It's kind of this follows the same pattern. It's just with homelessness, I put so much work into it. I can show how it happened. I can prove who the players are, how they use nonprofits against you to attack you, which is something I haven't brought up yet. And so that's what my next goal is. So first, I got to be comfortable talking in front of public and in front of all these people, which I'm working on. And right about to the point speaking with you, I'm going to be trying to reach everybody I can, go into the media and do everything. We have to win this election.
Yeah. So before we get into that statement you just made about the nonprofits kind of working against us, one of the things when we talked earlier that you had mentioned that I really appreciated about you is the fact that you're like, hey, these people can't intimidate me. They're not scaring me. And tell me a little bit about how you pushed back against some of that. It was because once you really started pulling back the curtain here to see exactly what was going on with the homeless, they came after you hard.
Oh man, it was crazy. It was like, so I'd never done anything like this. And everything basically every day is a new thing. And so I started getting, after the first city council meeting, by the time I got home, I was getting calls calling me anti-Semitic. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. Wait, what does that mean? Okay, anti-Jewish. Oh, that's even funnier because I just went to Puerto Escondido with my friend from Israel, Haifa. So obviously they're clearly joking, but they weren't. So they were trying to intimidate, and they did intimidate a lot of people in our group, because this group that made those accusations, false accusations, obviously, they are extremely powerful, and people are scared of them. Me, I don't know you from Adam. Yeah, I didn't do. Well, first of all, you're wrong in what you're saying, so I'm not scared. So with the death threats, initially, I was a little concerned. I filed some reports with the sheriff. I filed one, and then I filed another one about the VP of that big outfit made up another lie. And every time she did that, she would go post it on social media and send it to the whole world. And like, people are like, they're just clobbering my name. And so, and then it just got so bad that everybody's just talking smack about me. And I just like, whatever, I don't care. You can say whatever you want, because you're not gonna scare me. I grew up on the streets in some of the roughest areas when the Bloods and Crips and East Side Longos were fighting. I was getting shot at. I was running. So a couple little sissy nonprofits, they're not gonna intimidate me. And I also make sure that I'm honest and I don't lie, because that's where you get in trouble. So as long as I tell the truth, I'm not worried. I'm good. And if I risk my life, hey, guess what? It's for a good cause.
Well, and it's obvious that you obviously hit close to the mark if they're coming after you that hard.
Oh,
so
brutal.
are you getting that sense that the opposition to you is, and all these intimidation tactics are to get rid of you, but
yeah,
it obviously didn't work.
No, and actually the city council member, Kelly Hensey, she's in my district. She's supposed to represent me. She posted on Instagram last week that I threatened her life and many other people's lives. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, seriously? Come on, dude. I'm so past that. That is so 2.5 years ago. But guess what? I'm running for mayor. That's kind of a little bit, we're going into some gray area. We're going to find out what that means. I don't know what it means, but you're kind of sitting here making some false accusations, baseless. And it's a criminal accusation. And so I went and spoke with the captain of the sheriff's department, Captain Lopez, and he said, no, there's no complaint against you. He says, in fact, there's no complaints at all. If you had any complaints against you, then you would have received calls and the sheriffs would be talking to you. It's never happened, but that doesn't stop these guys from lying. I don't trust this city council. I don't trust these nonprofits as far as I can throw them. And that's what keeps me going, because I'm not stopping, guys. This is not over. This is only beginning. We're gonna take our town back.
All right, so go ahead. Tell me about the. You said that they're actively working against the citizens. What did you mean by that?
Oh my gosh, what, the nonprofits or the city council?
The nonprofits.
Okay, so here's the way the nonprofits work. I'm just going to jump right into it because I have all the evidence. Okay, so Leech Tag is a big nonprofit right by my house. I didn't even know they were there forever. They were quiet, nice. I just remember driving by on horses, and it looked like a cool place. I didn't even know they were Leech Tag. I always thought it was Paul Ecke or Ecke Round. So I didn't know that there was a transaction that occurred. But they stayed. They were cool for a long time, and then they just threw that letter out on that notice on, I think it was the 15th of November 2019, what their intentions were. And I had sent several nice emails to the VP of Leech Tag, asking some questions. I was pretty naive. I didn't really know a lot about nonprofits, but I was asking questions, and then she wouldn't respond. But yet they're telling us contact this person, and so after like 3 or 4 times, I'm just like getting frustrated, and they're just lying to us. They're not being truthful. I'm talking not just Leech Tag. I'm talking every one of the nonprofits. They all lied to this county, this town, and yeah, I'll stick to that all day long. I have all the proof. I'll say the majority of them lied about the success of the programs, the number of homeless, and their method is kind of an attack style method designed to kind of scare and intimidate, and it works for a lot of people. For me, it didn't scare me. This is my town. It's the only town I've ever had. I've raised my family here. My kids were born, raised, went to all the schools. I'm fighting. I fought for my life. No parents in the hood. I'm not giving up on my town. No way. This town means everything to me. It means a lot to everybody. If I can get the backing of the community, I'll put the time in. I'll do the work. I'll make sure that I get Encinitas back on the right track and create a situation where we're not run by nonprofits again, but we're in bad shape right now, very bad shape.
And the most likely not challenger, but the most likely successor to our current mayor is
Well, I think it's going to be Tony Kranz. He's got the backing of the Democratic Party. I guess I'm an old Democratic person. I became a Democrat when I became 18. I really didn't care about politics. I still don't care about politics that much, but I never changed my party affiliation. So now I guess you could call me like a recovering Democrat or a centrist Democrat or whatever. But the Tony and this crew is more like radical progressives, and they're like almost communist, because I've been doing lots of research, and progressives don't try to stop you from speaking. They're supposed to be doing nice things. This is just a straight up Catherine Blakespeare, Kim Jong-un dictator ordering and saying everything that happens, and people just jump every time she says something. And so it's not right. This is America. Last time I looked, we have rights, and I have a right to go up and address my concerns at the city council meeting. And you don't have a right to try to shut me down, which they've been trying to do for 2.5 years. So, yeah.
All right. So you start to get some traction. The goal is still to kind of get the word out there. You're running for mayor. What are some of your platforms that you're running on in terms of what you see is the solution to let's just use the homeless in particular?
Well, the first solution is going to be to stop the advertising. Okay, that's what's bringing them in. Technically, the county should be working on this. I'm going to be meeting with some people next week. I won't be able to. I don't want to. I have to. These are humans, and they've been through a lot. So I'm going to have to take care. Encinitas, we're going to have to take care of the people that are here, according to Boise versus Martin. So what we want to do is just stop the flow and start working on taking care of the homeless. Some may want to go back home to where they came from. Some may want jobs. We have to accommodate, we have to take care of them. And that's because they're here. And I don't want to have a revolving door of homeless. Encinitas doesn't need that. Our community cannot handle that. And I'm going to get the crime levels back to where they were before all this happened. So I think that, we could be actually become a model place for homeless. We just got to get the nonprofits out because they don't care. They're just trying to make as much money as they can. I care, and a lot of the community cares. And I just want to make our community safe. I want the homeless to be safe. But again, we're not going to keep everybody here. We're going to start working on solutions to get them to a destination that will be nice for them.
Yeah. What do you have? Does the Watchdog group have a website or something, someplace where people can go to kind of see what you're doing and what's going on, what the actual situation is?
Yeah, we have EncinitasWatchdog.com, which is, we haven't been on that quite as much since I decided to run for mayor, but we have Encinitas Watchdog on Facebook, both private and public. We have my mayor page, morrisformayor.org, with the number 4, and it talks a little bit about the things that I'm going to do as a mayor. Now, the watchdog pages are going to be kind of a chronology of the events that have happened, things that are documented. So the things that I say I can prove, not everything is on there, but we've been prepared for this for a long time, so we can show what they did. But they will find out our positions. Now, some neighbors they don't like the homeless. Others, like me, I just want to take care of them. I don't want to keep all of them here, but we have to protect our community, and we have to protect our children. For me, that's top priority over everything. But I'm not going to throw homeless on the street. We're going to take care of them. And if they're being taken care of, they're not going to be causing all these problems. The reason they're causing so much problems is because they're not being taken care of. And that's because the nonprofits in Catherine Blakespeare, they don't give a rat's behind about any of this stuff. So I think I can take care of that. And some of these guys are my friends. We can make everybody happy, and Encinitas doesn't need to be suffering over this.
Yeah. As far as people that are coming in from outside of Encinitas, where are they? I mean, where's the farthest that you've in your sort of your research? How far away are they coming in from?
All over the freaking country. People from New York, New Jersey. I mean, they were coming this winter. Pennsylvania. I mean, every state in the country, probably more than northern states where it's colder. But there's people in cars. People are being dropped off here from other towns. Like I remember when Oceanside, people used to drop them off in Oceanside. That wasn't fair, but they're doing it to us. So, that's not fair either. But I'm not sure if we sent anybody to Oceanside, but they're coming from everywhere. I mean, when you're advertising nonstop, and you're making millions and zillions of dollars, you're going to keep that gravy train going. And I've heard from Captain Lopez that, up to 70% of these people are on drugs. And then also the crime factor that's coming in are people are renting cars like from LA, or stealing cars, coming down here, stealing catalytic converters, which doesn't have to do with the homeless, but when you create an environment where you're not really enforcing your laws, they know that they can get away with a lot more here than they would at some place that's actually enforcing. And that's another big thing. We're not enforcing a lot of our laws that protect the citizens.
And why is that? What does Captain Lopez say about that? Are their hands tied because of what? Really? In what way?
Well, when they declare the shelter crisis, what that means is that you have to back off off enforcing a lot of the laws. You can't for example, if someone's sleeping on public property, if you don't have a place to take them, you can't tell them to leave. And then also they raised the crime from a misdemeanor to a felony, like up to $950. So there's all these smash and grabs that going on at stores where people drive up, run in, grab $950 for the stuff, bail. No big deal. The businesses are eating it left and right all across Encinitas, and that breaks my heart too, because these guys are like the bread and butter of our town and our character, and I care a lot about this the local businesses. So
it's funny that because I mean, and I'm probably one of those target people that you are trying to make aware. I didn't realize, because you always hear about that up in San Francisco. The really nice stores are getting robbed, but that's actually happening down here as well.
We are the next San Francisco. I mean, they are right now using us. Okay, Catherine Blakespeare is a very, how do I say this? She's an intelligent person, but she doesn't have any real life experience. She obtained a law degree, and I think that on her own, she might have got as high as maybe like a AP writer in Utah. But when she came back, I think that her mom might have set her up with the city council, and I'm going to suspect that she was part of these plans to turn us into what we are today. So when you don't have a lot of life experience and everybody's telling you certain things, you can be brainwashed. So she doesn't like me because I don't do the brainwash. I go with like logic and common sense. And so she's being offered so much that she just doesn't care. And that lack of caring is definitely destroying this town. And there's no end in sight. I think things are going to just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And it seems like that's the way it is in Sacramento. The worse you treat your community, maybe like Maxine Waters or Nancy Pelosi, the better you are to your party and the more value that you carry, because that's what she's doing. She's not making Encinitas better. She's making Encinitas way worse.
Yeah. Well, and that seems to be the sort of the MO, is you create a problem and then you say you have a solution, and then that's
Yeah.
so that seems to be across the board at every level. I just didn't realize it was that bad down here in Encinitas. What has your interactions been with her been like?
Well, I walked by her one time when I was surfing Swamis. I was going up the stairs and she was going down, and I looked at her and we kind of locked eyes, but I'm like, no way am I going to say anything because these guys are accusing me of everything. So I've never seen her outside of the city council other than one time. And I didn't say a word to her. And let's see, at the city council, yeah, she hates me, which is fine. So when she hears my name, so I didn't go for like a year. So I just, because you go to the city council meeting, you're talking to a brick wall, and it drives me nuts because I like to have interaction. And as a mayor, that's what I want to do is, if customers, if voters and citizens want answers, then let's answer their questions. Let's just not talk to a wall. So I stopped going to those because I got frustrated. But I popped in when I decided to run for mayor. I popped back in, and it was funny because I saw her just look, and she just stuttered. And she's like, "Oh God," because I've been on social media and I've been, warrantly exposing the things that she's doing, and I don't. She's just not a good. She's not a good leader. She's not a leader. She needs to get out of here. And I'm scared of her going to Sacramento. I don't want her in Sacramento either. I want residents running our community, and in Sacramento, anybody but Blakespeare, because I don't think I've ever met a person more ruthless than her. Not even in the hood. They'd be like, "What is this?" There's a little bit of my hood coming out.
So what is it? Are you definitely getting the sense that you're running up against the machine, like the full weight of the state machine?
Completely, man. I'm like surprised I'm still alive. I initially, for a while, I thought they were just going to take me out, and I was expecting it. And I'm not scared again. So and it's going to be the full weight of the machine. I'm not feeling it quite yet. What's kind of weird is that they were just targeting me, attacking me, like her attorney, nonprofits, just nonstop. And once I just got fed up, I said, I'm running for mayor, and then crickets. Like, whoa, what happened? Okay, this isn't right. What do you guys do? And I think it threw them off as well. But I realized that I know so much information, and like I'm able to tell you about LeechTag because I investigated them. I know what JFS, I know all the players, what you guys did, how you made this happen. So, if I ever have an opportunity, we ever get any audits or accountability, I'm going to be able to show and prove exactly what happened. It's all documented. I've got thousands of hours of information to prove what happened if that opportunity ever comes. What I feel though is that our government, local government, is corrupt because I've reached out to everybody. We'll just say straight up, I've reached out to the FBI, the Attorney General, District Attorney, Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm just kidding about that, but just everybody to try to get some accountability, get an investigation, anything, because what she's doing, that's not in line with what our Constitution. When people want to speculate that these guys are what's the word I'm looking for? Socialist. Hell, they're worse than socialist. A socialist at least has some element of caring. This is straight Kim Jong-un unilateral decision-making stuff. using and abusing emergency orders to override the will of the residents, and just every day sticking a dagger a little bit deeper. And they keep creating more commissions, which they bring in more people that are of their political party, and they're trying to get, like, let's just say, for example, kids that don't have houses, put them in political positions to target the residents,
Yeah.
who've been successful. So that kind of just nonsense. It's got to stop, because this is a big experiment, and there's a lot of money that these people are hoping to make off our town, and they're going to have to get past me.
What's your team kind of telling you in terms of, because obviously you're not a politician. This will be the first office that you've run for. Um, what are you finding that the people that are in your corner that have political experience and have policy type experience, how's all that going? Is it
Well, it's going good. When this first happened, I never had any plans for running for office, and so um, when you attack me, which they were doing daily, I'm gonna attack you back, and I'm gonna stick the fork a little bit deeper. So for a while, it was just back and forth babble, and trying to shut them down, because what happened is they created uh, a spider web of people associated with nonprofits. And the purpose of these people is to attack residents. And I have this all documented as well. There's an app called Nextdoor, which is for the community to interact together. So a lot of our information that we would go back and forth, we would do there. Well, they all jumped on Nextdoor and became admins and started uh, deleting our post or suspending us. And I'm like, what is this? I mean, just like full communism.
yeah.
And then on social media, like, say, for example, Facebook, I can't say specifically, but they have somebody uh, that is has a direct impact on Facebook, on our accounts, and they're going to come again. And they did have a person that was the VP of Facebook that was Catherine's biggest supporter, but of course he said he knows nothing about it. But there's certain measurings of when they start messing with your social media. So I mean, this this is real. This is real, and someone's controlling this from behind the scenes. And you know, I'm ready to take you guys all on, and I don't plan on losing this. This is for Encinitas, and we're not going to give up our town to these guys. No way.
What's going on right now in terms of your campaign? Have we started the full court press? I mean, obviously next week is the voting for the California primaries, but when do you start full bore in terms of getting out there, or are you already doing all that?
Well, I've been really practicing a lot on communication skills. Not that I can't communicate, but I'm from the hood, and I was retired, so there was no reason for me to worry about the things that I said back to people. So when they'd attack me, I'd attack them back just as nasty and a little bit more. So I had kind of a little bit of a reputation of being rough, but hey, in every situation, somebody attacked me and I just went right back at them. So we're cleaning up my image, and I never did anything wrong. I've never committed any crimes. I just been learning how to talk and communicate properly without, you got to realize I'm in the ring with Mike Tyson, and now, I'm kicking it on the beach in Bahamas. So it's totally two different things. Just making that adjustment from getting beat 24/7 a day, threatening your life, going after your kids, the mayor's attorney targeting my family, um, death threats, people putting notes on my car, and just constantly, and then all of a sudden, you're running for mayor, so you got to change and be a totally different person. And I feel I can be a leader. I know I can be a leader, and it's just I have to change to what the community standards of political correctness to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But for me, it's all about Encinitas, and I'll do whatever it takes. And if I have to speak like Mr. Rogers, so be it.
Well, it's amazing because I just up until I talked to you, I just never thought it could happen. And maybe that's just me not paying attention, but I just never felt like it would be that bad down at the local political level. But it's basically exactly what's going on with the cancel culture up in the upper ends of the of our government. So countrywide all the way down into the state and the local level, which is really, that, and it's a shame that it's gotten to that. But having a person like you who, you seem impervious to the attacks, which is awesome. You have to have that tough skin to be
Yeah.
able to withstand it, and then come back with the facts with all the research that you've been doing. So I'm really looking forward to kind of watching things as the campaign progresses, but just also, just what the Watchdog Group is doing with their continued work in this issue. With that being said, what is the Watchdog? What are you guys doing now? Is it still kind of, you're just kind of monitoring the situation and just trying to make everybody aware of it?
Well, here's what we're trying to do is again, awareness is number one. We need help though. This isn't going to be, this is going to take an entire community to beat these guys. And donations can help. If people can't do anything physically, they can go to morris4mayor.org and donate for Encinitas. If you can put a sign in your yard, if you can organize meet and greets, we have to get the work out. We have to get the word out. We need money. It's expensive. Just to send out a mailer, it's like $10,000. So I'm willing to, I've put in a lot of money. I've sacrificed a lot of money and time, but it's worth it. And I'm going to keep going. And I believe that I have the best stance to fight back. They're not going to be able to pin nonsense on me because I lived on those streets. I know how that works. So that's how I nailed them. So I think, in a perfect world, maybe I would have somebody else elected, but with this ruthless attack, I'm the right person at the right time for this job, because I know how to deal with these guys. If you get someone new in here and they start chewing you up, man, they come after you like a piranha. So if people can spread the word, again, help donate, put signs at your house, have meet and greets, have fundraisers, we need that kind of thing and get more people involved. And that's what we're working on right now. We've had a few meet and greets, fundraisers and so forth, but we need to do a lot more before November.
What does your team look like? I mean, who do you have right now that's kind of helping you with all this stuff? I mean, are there names you can talk about in terms of people that are supporting you?
I can't say their names.
Okay.
But I can say this. I have a lot of people that are in very high places that you would be surprised. And it's interesting, like the people that you think that might actually do something versus the people that actually do something, it's interesting. But wow, the help that I'm getting, these people are just like me. Their hearts are ripped out. They really care about Encinitas, and what they see in me is the fighter, and my passion, and I'm just, no, you're not going to mess my town up. I don't care. I'm going to fight and give this everything that I have. And I need help from Encinitas, and it's all of us. It's not me. It's just all of us. We have kids. We want our kids to be safe. We don't want homeless parking lots where people are smoking crack with a blowtorch right by our kids, or going and wandering into the school. I mean, this stuff is happening every day. And I believe, honestly, the mayor is trying to hide this information from us. For example, she's the chair of SANDAG. SANDAG receives the FBI biannual crime reports twice a year. So when the last crime report came out a few weeks before that, she sent us to another website by SafeWise, some just phony website saying, it has nothing to do with the actuality of what's happening, when she's actually the real, she has the real numbers. So that kind of stuff is what this mayor does all the time. And about telling the truth, geez, I mean, I can give so many examples of this, her just not telling the truth. She's just not honest. And I can't, that's hard for me to deal with. I'm not used to this kind of stuff, but you know what? I'm not afraid of her. I'm not afraid of any of them. So I believe that good always beats bad, and I'm not lying, and you are, not you, but they are. And so I'm going to keep fighting, and we're going to win this. We have no choice. We have to win this.
Yeah. And then obviously, Krantz would be the most likely successor to her, and he's obviously got all the full backing of her and the status quo, I would assume.
Yeah, he kind of seems like He's definitely the more normal of the bunch. I mean, these guys are wacko. Excuse my language, like serious politically brainwashed. Tony has moments of using logic and common sense. But under the same note, Tony, all this stuff happened under your watch. You, Tony, on October 17, 2018, you signed that crisis shelter declaration when we didn't have a crisis. So you set this all up in motion. Even though you tried to vote, pretend that you didn't vote, it still happened under your watch.
Yeah.
And everything, all the homeless on the streets packed, and they still not even admitting that they filled our hotels. Like, I've got your contracts, I've got videos, I've been there. I was going to the hotels at least once or twice every weekend monitoring. So this sneaky stuff has to go. Encinitas doesn't need this. Take your experiment, Catherine, go someplace else. Beach communities are rare. They're for everybody to enjoy. They're not for a few nonprofits to take advantage, make a bunch of money, and destroy a wonderful community that's been around and has done so much for everybody else. You guys don't have the right to do that, and we're going to stop you.
All right. So we've got Morris, the number 4, mayor.org.
Yes.
The watchdog, and is it EncinitasWatchdog.com?
EncinitasWatchdog.com.
Okay.
And
you've got your Facebook, you got
Facebook. There's a Encinitas Watchdog private page. We do a little screening on that. We have an Encinitas Watchdog public page. We have Morris for Mayor _ Encinitas on a Facebook page. So most of the interactions are on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we slowed a little bit with the website because now we're moving into running for office mode.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I guess to kind of end it on a positive, because it is an uphill battle. The positive, at least through my limited experience with the whole development issues, I think the people started to, by the end, when they actually by the end of when they made their final decision, and then the developer turned around, he's suing to get that decision upturned or turned over. Up until that point, I could feel the momentum of the citizens starting to get more and more involved once they realized what was at stake. And so hopefully, we're able to do this with the not only the homeless crisis that we're in, but the other things as well. So I definitely appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything that you've been doing. And I wish you the best of luck, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's challenging, but the way I kind of look at it is losing's not really an option.
Yeah.
If we get the word out and we as residents of Encinitas let the community know, tell our neighbors what's going on, we can beat these guys. They have all the money and all the political backing of all the people that want to take advantage of Encinitas. And if we don't stop them, it's going to get real bad, because looks like we're losing our grip, is our ability to govern is sliding out of our hands, and we need to pull that back in.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, I appreciate your time, man. This was cool. This is really, really interesting stuff. And again, it's Morris, the number 4, mayor.org, and Encinitas Watchdog. Look them up on the socials if you're interested in learning more about what's going on. Keep an eye out for his upcoming meet and greets, because I definitely think the more people realize what exactly is going on, I think the more people are going to be pretty appalled by it.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. We get the attention, and enough people know we take care of this problem.
Yeah.
Not too late.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, Jeff. Thank you again. And I'll close out by saying, if you're in the military, the police departments, fire departments, or first responders, if that's you out there, thank you very much for your service. Stay safe. Jeff Morris, thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you.
All right, guys, it's the Rain Man. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching Rain Man's Take, observations on the world we live in. If you like the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. You can also follow Rain Man's Take on Instagram at Rain Man's Take. Also, check out our website at www.rainmanstakepodcast.com. and send your comments to rainmanstake@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for future podcasts, which will be coming out every Thursday at 5 p.m. West Coast time.